In this video, I'm going to show you 3 essential elements that intertwine to make manifesting work, so you can manifest any dream or goal you desire. And they have nothing to do with visualizing, affirmations, or thinking positive thoughts. Keep watching, and I'll reveal all. If you're new here, hi, I'm Trevor, former psychotherapist and one-time broke and broken-hearted guy, turned manifestation expert who figured out the no-nonsense truth about how the law of attraction really works. And it turned my life around. I've manifested a Mercedes and all the cash for it in a day, a loving wife whom I met and married in 2006, and recently I manifested over $1,100 in a weekend from scratch. Nowadays, I help people like you master the law of attraction for success with money, love, and life in general through my videos, books, and online programs. If you'd like to know more about my unorthodox but highly effective approach to the law of attraction, you can download my free book, Let's Manifest a Ferrari. There's a link in the description below this video if you want to download a free copy. The first element of manifesting we're going to take a fresh look at is beliefs. Realize straight out of the gate that you can't not have beliefs. And secondly, before you start beating up on yourself because you worry that your limiting beliefs are holding you back, you must understand that all beliefs are limiting. You can't know everything about everything. And what's more, if you could compare notes about everything with the other 8 billion inhabitants of this planet, you wouldn't find a single person who agrees with you about all of it. We all have our own beliefs about life, how the world works, how to bring up kids, how politicians should run the country, even what foods are good for you. Of course, there's plenty of consensus, but the full picture of reality you have inside your head is as individual as your fingerprint or DNA, which is great news because it means you're making it all up. Yep, all of it. And what that boils down to is that beliefs are only the thoughts you've had that you've chosen to latch onto. They seem to work, they hold true, so in your head, that's how reality is. If you're a scientist, you may think you're on safe ground, but not everything is scientific. I remember the late, great Dr. Wayne Dyer recounting a conversation he once had with a brain surgeon. Somehow, they got onto the topic of the existence or non-existence of a soul. The surgeon said, "I've seen inside plenty of bodies, but I've never seen a soul." To which Dr. Dyer replied, "Well, you've seen a lot of brains, but I bet you've never seen a thought either." The key takeaway here for us is this. If you're struggling with a situation in your life, let's say something you badly want just isn't manifesting for you, there's a good chance you're harboring beliefs about why that's not possible for you. It could be a confidence issue, in which case it might show up like a who, me feeling? Or it might be about something you believe is outside of your control, when the thought would be more along the lines of, "It always rains in that place at this time of year. My picnic is sure to be ruined." Now, a lot of law of attraction teachings want you to uproot all those limiting beliefs. They often go on to point out that some of the beliefs might be in your subconscious, which to my mind is a cop-out in case the manifesting doesn't work. It's easy to say, "Oh well, there must be some subconscious belief that stopped it." I don't agree with that line of thinking anymore. I wasted years of my life trying to figure out how I could possibly ever uproot every subconscious limiting belief when I didn't even know what they were because, well, they were subconscious, weren't they? Duh! The great revelation was this. I don't need to know what they are. Conscious or subconscious, the whole thing becomes a wild goose chase because all you have to do is ignore them and they will go away on their own. Really, they will. Just as even on the cloudiest of days, you know those clouds will eventually go away and the sun will still be there, shining as brightly as ever. If you live in England, as I do, you might have to wait patiently for that to happen, but it will, sooner or later. Now, I've talked about this in other videos, but the next element requires something that's kind of hard to teach. You see, once you've ignored your thoughts and beliefs about whatever it is you want to manifest, which you can do by just watching them, like a TV soap opera that's on in the background. There's a drama going on, but it's not holding your attention. That kind of detachment. Once you've got that happening, the universe is free to come in with a new thought, a new suggestion. And this is the part where manifesting truly begins. But what it requires from you is trust. A better word might even be faith, but I usually steer clear of that word because of its religious overtones. Look, it doesn't matter if you're religious or spiritual or a total skeptic about these things. Let's see if we can agree on one thing. We're not running the show. Carl Sagan, the American scientist and astronomer, once said, "If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe." I love that. I mean, where do apples come from? Apple trees. And where do they come from? Apple seeds. And they come from... Then you need the soil and all the right nutrients to grow the tree, the earth itself, air, rain, sunlight. Carl Sagan was right. I don't know how all that stuff works, and that's just an apple pie. I know how babies are made, but I've no idea how that mewling infant becomes a person. I know how to trim my fingernails, but I haven't a clue how to grow them. By the same token, I don't know where ideas come from either. But we are blessed with an incredible and, I believe, unique faculty. It's called imagination. And this is where we trip ourselves up when it comes to manifesting. We spend our time imagining all the reasons why we can't have it, or why it's hopeless or even impossible. And yet, we are perfectly capable of imagining things turning out well. The reason we don't is because we base our imaginings on past experience or what we've heard about other people's mishaps. And there's another, much better reason why we default to imagining the worst case scenario. And when you hear what it is, you'll stop beating yourself up next time you have a negative thought. It's survival. Imagine hunter-gatherer tribesmen preparing for a hunt. They'd have to take into account the weather, the terrain, what to do in case one of them was injured, and so on. A remnant of this is when we say to our loved ones and friends, "Take care," when they're going somewhere. It's a kind of shorthand for make sure you think of all the things that could go wrong before you leave and prepare well for them. So I suspect we're wired to default to thinking of things that could go wrong. Once you know that, you can stop fighting it. It's the mind's security check, and it's just doing its job. But that doesn't mean you're going to attract any of those things. Your thoughts about managing risk don't cause bad things to happen, which means, by the same logic, that thoughts about everything working out in your favour don't cause the good stuff either. Oh, whoopsie! Have we just knocked manifesting off the agenda altogether? On the contrary, we've just figured out how it happens. Let's give this a context. Say you want to get a big, important job. You've got the interview coming up, and where will your mind go? It will create scenarios of you fluffing answers, drying up at crucial moments, or making some terrible gaffe. That's the security guard doing its job. Notice it, thank it, and then ignore it. If it's flagged up some areas where you should definitely brush up on your answers, That's all to the good. Brush them up. But the security guard isn't the one going to the interview. You are. So we have beliefs, faith, and imagination. How can you use all three of them in harmony to manifest anything you desire? Beliefs are what create our experience. It's as though you're the owner of your own personal cinema, complete with a huge white screen. Whatever you project onto that screen will appear to be your reality, but you're free to change the movie at any time, or even, for brief periods, just not play one at all. This is why I say all beliefs are limiting. If you're engrossed in the latest James Bond movie, you can't at the same time be enjoying Mamma Mia. It doesn't make one experience better or worse than any other. But as long as you believe that whatever you're caught up in is real, you'll continue to believe that things can't change. And that is the most limiting and unnecessary belief of them all. You're merely the observer, and whilst you will get caught up in whatever's happening on the screen, which is the point of a movie after all, it doesn't mean you have to accept that that's the way things are. Turn the movie off for a moment and watch the blank screen. You can meditate or find some other way to quiet your mind. I have a whole other video on how to do that. That way, you'll let go of the drama inside your head. It only takes a moment, and all things become possible in a moment of stillness and emptiness. It sounds very zen, and it probably is. Those guys were onto something. At this point, you need faith. The universe will introduce some new ideas, and they may seem random or unrelated, sometimes even bizarre, but that's not for you to question or try to second guess. Notice them and act on them. We've all had those times where seemingly random events turn into life-changing experiences in ways no one could possibly have foreseen. That's how the universe works, and it will often feel very different from the way you work. So trust it. Let the story unfold. If you don't, the old bogeyman of how will rear its ugly head, and you'll be back to thinking it doesn't work. My free book, Let's Manifest a Ferrari, has more detail and insights into these steps. Just click the link in the description to download a copy. And finally, there's imagination. Without that, you couldn't even have conceived of wanting whatever it is you want to manifest in the first place. But now, you must be wary of your desire being at odds with your self-image, whereas how can interfere with your manifesting process during the faith stage. What you'll find is who, me, popping in to try to wreck your dreams as you try to imagine being, having, or doing whatever it is you're wanting to manifest. This is sometimes called the imposter syndrome, and trust me, almost everyone who's ever lived has it. I'll tell you something else about it too that I haven't heard many people talk about. No matter how far you get in life, there's always another level that seems out of reach. I've achieved things in my life I would once have considered out of reach for me, and I now have a very happy existence. But I still have dreams, and there are still mountains to climb. I still have how thoughts, and I still have who, me, thoughts too. What I know, however, is that they don't stop the manifesting process any more than thinking of all sunshine and roses makes good things come true. Allowing yourself to be guided does. And once you understand the three pillars of manifestation I've described here, belief, faith, and imagination, and how they intersect, you are free to manifest whatever you want, even if doubt creeps in, which it will. I hope that's helped. When they're all working in harmony, you'll know, because you'll be in that zone that's sometimes referred to as flow state, when everything just seems to go your way. It's a great feeling. I've made a video about how to get into flow state pretty much at will. So it would be a good idea to watch that one next. I'll put it up on the screen for you now. I can't remember which side. And there'll be a link to it in the description below too. And don't forget, if you want a more detailed understanding of my quirky but no-nonsense ideas about how manifesting works and how easy it is, then help yourself to a copy of my free book, Let's Manifest a Ferrari, which you can download today by clicking the link in the description below. Thank you for watching. I look forward to reading your comments and questions, and I'll see you soon in another video.